welcome to a new video where I'm going to do multiple looks with one palette, and I hope you saw my palettes on the chopping block video. If you didn't, you surely should, because there in that video are 19 palettes, but as of today it's 18, and who knows how many it will be at the end of this video. Because just a quick explanation, chopping block means these are palettes where I'm not sure if I want to keep them or if I want to declutter them. That's why I will do dedicated looks just with these palettes to see how much do I like them, how much value do they give to my collection, and how much do they just feed into my creativity flows. And in this video, I will be doing this with the Too Faced Italian Spritz palette. I wanted to say better than Spritz, but no, it's the Italian Spritz palette, and this is the first look. I thought I'd do it the same way as I did it with Yaka a couple weeks ago, where I do the intro directly after the first look, tell you my initial thoughts, and then in the outro, I want to reflect on the thoughts that I said in the intro. So, actually, I have to say, I am not sure at this point if this video will have 3 looks. I'm planning to do 3 looks with this because I feel like 5 is possible, but could be a pain. So I wanted to do 3. And as I'm now done with the first look, I feel like that I will, after the second look, decide to declutter it. The quality of this palette is a good one, not gonna lie. The mattes are really fantastic. My main problem in here is that everything is in the same depth level, so there is not a lot of depth that you can add without pulling in something else. And you know me, I love my depth. It doesn't matter if it's an orange look, a green look, a blue look, no matter what look. I need some kind of deepening. And this shade looks deep, but again, it's all kind of in the same color family. So let's just very quick look over the swatches. I think in the swatches is this depth level thing kind of visible, because the only deeper shades you have are actually Mamma Mia and Como After Dark, which is this very dark purpley burgundy shade, and the black with shimmer. If this black had no shimmer particles, I think this would be a great addition to this palette, just as a very universal darkening up shade, because the last shade you have, and it's by on my swatches, the last shade in the second row, this like beigey white bony color is a nice shade to brighten up the other shades, to kind of tone down the darker shades like this intense pink or this very beautiful, still very pukey but beautiful orange shade that is called Capri Fun. And again, just the black without the shimmer, then this bony color, that would be very good. So you can adjust the depth of the palettes, you can turn them into more pastel. So the variety would be much bigger like that. When we look at the shimmers, they are very lackluster kind of. So in the first row, the second and the fourth shade, these shimmers, one is an orange, the other one is the exact same shade but with added pink to it, so that it kind of seems to shift from orange to pink. Then we also have a kind of translucent blue and a translucent purple, both in the first row. To me, they are honestly misplaced in this color story. I see what they're meant to be, but this, like these 2 shades and the dark blue in the second row, they do not match this palette. I wish instead of these shades we would have something more in this color story. And you know, this palette is to be like Italian Spritz, Aperol Spritz. It's supposed to smell like Aperol. So I don't get why they actually chose these weird shades in here, like the blue. It is contrasty, but when you just cover these up, the palette has not a lot exciting to show to you, to give to you. So long story short, my goal is to do 3 looks, but I'm at this point kind of thinking I might do only 2. We will see. But now let's head to tutorial number 1 for, in my opinion, this very fun look, but that is mainly because of the liner. So for the first look, I'm starting with Tusset in Tuscany, whatever. And I used this as my transition color. I'm still mad about the fact that the shade names are printed above the pants and it drives me nuts and I hate that. Actually, this is one of the main reasons this palette is on the chopping block. I'm honest with you. It's 50% the printing thing and 50% the quality thing. Or let's say color story. I mean, the quality is decent, is a good one. It's one of the better Too Faced palettes that have come out in the past years. I'm now going into the shade Capri Fun and I apply this roughly in the crease but also a bit in the transition area. I just basically took a smaller round fluffy brush to give it an orange tint. Yes, we are doing orange. With a smaller blending brush, I'm going into Feeling Saucy, and this goes straight into crease and outer V area. But everything is more like blown out and smooth and nice, not a lot of harsh lines going on. And I also dip back into the Toasted shade from the beginning, and I just go over the edges again. These shade names are kind of cringe that I even feel uncomfortable saying them because I'm now tapping into that gold that's called Grappa Don't Preach. What am I doing here with my life? This has actually quite a weird texture, so I don't know if you can tell, but it goes on super flaky on the brush, and in the pan it kind of flakes off the surface. But the application is nice, it's decent. The flakes kind of dissolve and you can easy apply this. This definitely needs some build up if you don't want to have a super translucent shade. But when you take that extra step to tap back and build the shade, you are basically having a good gold shadow here. Not my favorite because the undertone is way too warm and yellow for me, but it's a good one. I can work with it, let's say it like that. I'm now using my Pat McGrath Cosmic Chartreuse liquid eyeshadow. Feel like this gold-based green is maybe a really nice addition to this look. So I do apply a tiny bit here on that inner part. And then I take the same brush I used for the gold, but I just flip it. And I blend that out and on top of the gold so that we get a gradient. Apply some more of the shade and then blend over that gold. That is actually a cool effect on the lids. I hope the camera picks that up well. To me personally, there is something dark missing on the lid. I just need some depth. So I'm tapping into Sin Sin. And I do apply this here on the most outer part on top of the gold. So we get in the end an effect from a chartreusey green to a gold to a bronze. But actually that shade does not change a lot. Wow. This is really not going well. I had that so much better in my memory. What is going on actually? I'm tapping into Espresso Yourself with a like smaller blending brush. And now I just dust this on this outer part and into the crease. It's not perfect, it's not what I desire actually, but it's better than whatever was going on before that. So for the lower lash line, I'm applying the Charlotte Tilbury Pillow Talk liner. You know, I want to empty that bish. By the way, at what point do you call a kohl kajal like this empty? Next up, I'm going into Feeling Saucy again, and I smudge this along the lower lash line. And I'm also touching Toasted Tuscany again, and I use this to blow out here. I feel like a fun liner could amp up this look a lot. So you know what? I'm doing a fun liner. I'm kind of thinking about the yellow or that bright orange. You know what? I'm going with the neon orange. Well, if you wonder what these are the split liner pants from Lethal Cosmetics, and you can buy a solution for that. Usually cake liner you only need water for, but their catalyst solution is actually really good. I start on the center, then I do the rest of the lid. Talking and doing eyeliner is a pretty hard task. And then I look straight in the mirror and slightly flick it out. Not a lot actually, just a tiny bit. I mean, there's no going back at this point, but I like it. It gives the look something more, not editorial, but something more interesting going on. I actually do not have a good inner corner highlight shade in this palette. I mean, I could use Ciao Bellini. I'm kind of thinking either using Ciao Bellini or using the orange shade Commando from the Lemonhead LA Space Case Mini. No, I'm unsure. The good thing is I can always add the glitter, so I'm starting with Ciao Bellini first. Apply this as inner corner highlight. That is nearly invisible. So let's do a second layer. I like it like that. I think the glitter would be a bit too much for this look. Okay, this is now the first look with this palette. I'm honest with you. If I didn't decide to do the liner, I would hate this look because it's just so nothing. But the liner kind of saved it. So let's head over to the next look. Okay, let's start with look number 2, and I'm tapping into the shade Holy Cannoli. These shade names give me the rest. And I use this as a very soft transition shade because I'm aiming for something very different to the first look, more in the pinkish blue area. And I actually already have ready a liquid eyeshadow that I might integrate here. Next up, I'm going into When in Rome, and I use this in my transition area. Not transition, in the crease. But I bring it up into the transition area. And with a smaller brush, I go into Mamma Mia, and I do my typical deepening outer V area and crease part. Already unsure what to use on the lid, because if you remember the swatches from the beginning, Mamma Mia, Lake Como, these are beautiful shades in here, but they are super sheer. So I am not too sure if I really should apply them directly or if I should go in with a base first. For the sake of giving this palette a fair shot, I try them pure. So I just apply my glitter glue all over the lid. And I'm starting with Lake Como. And I do apply this in or out. You know what? Let's do something fun. I start here on the inner part. Okay, the glitter glue does make a very, 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 very big difference. This applies much, much better than the swatch. I think when I used this palette for the very first time last year when it came out, I remember that I used this shade too, but it was very disappointing. But I also was not that much into glitter glue back then. I mean, I used it, but not very frequently. Now that I evolved, I use glitter glue with every single look. And holy shit, holy cannoli, that actually looks quite good. Hopefully we get the same nice effect now with the shade Spritz and Glitz here. That's also very flaky. The texture of Lake Como and Spritz and Glitz are very, very similar. Very flaky textures, shades, you know what I mean. But I use this now to fill in the rest of the lid and then just mix them here together where they meet. I go back into Mamma Mia and I just want to bring back some depth here. That's a very interesting take. I did not expect this, and I think we can put aside the liquid eyeshadow that I pulled out today. Maybe I need another one for the inner corner because I'm still missing kind of an inner corner highlight here. Okay, for the lower lash line, I'm lining the lower waterline again with the Charlotte Tilbury Pillow Talk liner. And I'm tapping into Mamma Mia again. And I do blend this close to the lash line, all along the eye. Along or around? No, along this line. I don't know. You know what I mean. You see what I do. I'm also going into When in Rome again. This time I'm not doing a contrasting lower lash line. I basically mimic what is happening here in that upper part. There's not a lot of contrast happening in the Italian Spritz, so maybe that's why I'm not doing it. Well, it's probably the reason why I'm not doing it. So it's time for the inner corner highlight, and again, this palette does not have an inner corner highlight for me, or maybe even for this look. In the first look we used Ciao Bellini, which really worked. That was a really good one. But what should I use now? Like there's nothing that matches this look. So I'm taking the shade Blink from LH Cosmetics. This is a liquid eyeshadow, and this is a beautiful blue pink shifty color with a white transparent base, so it kind of captures the look that's going on the eyes. So I take some of the shade here on a brush, very little because they're very pigmented, and I tap this slightly here on the inner corner and lower lash line. I highly recommend starting with a little and then just slowly building it up, because with cream shadows or liquid eyeshadows you can easily go overboard. And this is now look number 2. Don't mind the hair, it's a bit wild today. I was initially planning to do 3 looks with this palette, but I'm honest with you, although I like this look, I'm not gonna lie, this is probably, let me check once more in the mirror, the best that I ever created with this palette. But my problem just is I can create this look with probably 15 other palettes that I have, because I'm honest with you, don't see this look in this palette. This definitely kind of developed when I started applying, but I don't see it. Usually when I look at a palette, I see immediately a look. I immediately see something that works together, that is giving me joy. And the thing just is with this palette, it gives joy to a certain point to me, but there are so many other things that are against this palette, starting by the smell. I'm sorry, this is supposed to smell like Aperol Spritz. In my opinion, this smells like I don't know, like toilet cleaner, which is very unpleasant. Then the fact that this whole color story is just way too mid-tone for me. I do not have enough deepening shades. I have that one black. I did not incorporate this now because it's a shimmery black. If that was a very, very dark matte brown or a matte black, that would give this palette so much more. And the last thing that is against this palette, the shade names are printed on top. I don't know why this bothers me so much, but it's hurting me. It's physically hurting. I gave it 2 looks, and I think 2 looks are enough. I could do a 3rd look that incorporates the dark blue and the shimmery black, but I'm honest with you, my opinion would not change because I do have shimmery blues, I do have shimmery blacks. I could do the same look with other palettes too that I like more, where not so much is speaking against the palette. If all the things that I just said to you are things that, I don't know, like are tickling something and you were like, oh my god, I love that, what you don't like, you're not doing wrong with this palette. This is quality-wise one of the best Too Faced palettes that they have released. I wanted to love the pumpkin spice second slice or something. Like they have the OG pumpkin spice palette and then they had a second version of that, and that one got decluttered after 1 use because it was so bad. And this again then after that had the metal tin, and I just remember that Too Faced palettes in the metal packaging were just very, very special and much better than the ones with the cardboard. So I had high hopes for this. I don't think this is a bad palette. Again, I just think that this palette is not covering my personal needs of joy. Therefore, this will leave the collection, this will leave the chopping block. Since this palette looks so destroyed, you see it, but it comes down to the texture of these shimmers. It looks super used and abused, even though, I don't know, it's like 4 looks in total that I did with this. I will not sell this. I will feature this in a shorts video very, very soon. So what do you think? Is this palette something that tickles you? All the things that I don't like are things that you like? Do you even have this palette? Do you agree with me? What do you think? I'm sorry that this is just 2 looks, but I'm not seeing a 3rd one. I'm honest with you. So thank you for watching. Don't forget to subscribe and all that stuff, and I'll see you in the next one.